This is called Growing in Place, Why Professional Development Matters, and let's jump in. So it's always important to know why you are learning what you are learning. So let's take a look at today's course objectives. It is my hope that today you will sign off having learned these or gained and learned these 4 skills. So first, to define what professional development is. Second, to examine the benefits of professional development. Then to learn about the different types of professional development opportunities. Then finally, to review the best practices to make the most out of your professional development opportunities. All of these objectives are designed to enhance your value as an employee in whatever position that you may hold. So let's jump in and begin with our first objective, to define professional development. Professional development is gaining new skills through continuing education and career training after entering the workforce. It includes training that helps employees improve their present job performance and prepares them for future career paths while expanding their knowledge base in their chosen field. Now, I use the word real here because as I was researching this topic, I came to understand that there were quite a few misconceptions about what professional development even is. Here in a few moments, we're going to take a look at some myths that surround professional development. But I really wanted to present you here right at the very start of things with a very clear, solid definition. Notice that the word after is underlined. That's really important because by the time you're doing professional development, you should have already had some other career training to start you out. This is a continuation of what you already know. Employers and employees alike should certainly see the value in continuing to hone your skills in your chosen field. So learning is something I get really passionate about. And in another life, I was a teacher. And this may have been my classroom. So I'm happy to have joined employee development and transfer my skills and my joy of education to this wonderful place. Getting an education is something that was always impressed upon me through my parents, my grandparents, and many other members of my family. Though I'm not quite middle-aged yet, I have been around long enough to witness the fantastic notion that knowledge is power. It really is. In any classroom that I've ever been in, whether I was teaching young children, teens, or adults, my favorite, most prized moment is when you see someone struggling to learn a concept, and then that instant when the light bulb clicks and you grasp it, the idea has been grasped. I share a bit of my personal story with you because at the end of the day, what we're calling professional development is really just furthering our own education. And that's something that I hope you all want to do no matter where you are in your career. So on with our first objective. Sometimes the best way to define something is to rule out what it is not. And let's look at some existing myths that are not professional development. And I may refer to this interchangeably as PD, and that's just to simply save my tongue some work. It gets a little bit tiring over the course of time to continue to say professional development. Give it a whirl, you'll see. All right, so I called on these guys to help us bust up some of the myths to make sure that we have all the facts about professional development. All right, so according to research conducted by trainingindustry.com, they are a source dedicated to providing best practices, expert advice, and resources to learning professionals. These 4 statements that are going to come up here, these were the top 4 listed statements on some of the misconceptions that exist out there about PD. So let's help the Mythbusters bust up some of these facts that surround professional development. Let's take a look at that first one there. Professional development is only for large companies. The statement is wrong. In fact, most small businesses, 88% to be exact, offer training to most all of their employees. Trainingindustry.com, they found that high-performing organizations are 5 times more likely to have a learning culture than low-performing organizations. So, busted up myth number 1. Let's look at statement number 2. I'd have to pay for classes out of my own pocket. Ah, buzzer, wrong buzzer sound. No, no, no. Many companies, they pay for seminars, courses, conferences, and trainings. And why do they do this? Because their employers have spoken up, or employees rather, they have spoken up. They have said that learning matters to them. In fact, by 2025, which is very quickly approaching, an estimated 75% of the workforce is going to be millennials. And this is a group that has stated time and time again that professional development opportunities are something that really matters to them. This is an important factor when they're considering an employer. So organizations, they're listening to this. They're listening and they're providing more training and opportunities. In fact, in 2019, 370.3, I have to think about that number because I'm not a numbers person. $370.3 billion was spent on training and development in 2019. And I'm sure that number has just increased over time. So, myth number 2, busted. Let's take a look at number 3. I'd have to take time off work for training. Well, we can definitely bust this one up because maybe you would have to take some time off, but with the advent of technology, e-learning, mobile devices, these things offer great flexibility in providing learners with the professional development that they may need. So therefore, you might not even have to leave your home, right? You might have to go, but not necessarily. All right. Learners can take advantage of webinars. There's podcasts, mini learning sessions like we offer here at Employee Development. So all of these things are very flexible and pretty much at your fingertips. Finally, we come to myth number 4. This one kills me because I don't even know how it made the list. It's not beneficial for my career. Well, I suppose it's not beneficial if you are a plumber going to professional development for carpentry. But, let's look at the facts and get it straight. When it comes to hiring employers, they want to know that their candidates have the skills that they need to be successful in a given position. And certification, that can be the push that you need to get the spot. It's completely in your best interest to be sitting here right now. Just to throw you some statistics on this fact, in the field of information technology, for instance, which is huge and ever growing, 89% of employers, they believe that certified employees will perform better than non-certified employees. So do not hesitate to continue your education when the opportunity arises, whatever your discipline may be. So we went ahead right there. We did define professional development. So now we are going to move on to objective number 2 and examine the benefits of professional development. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Why does it matter? Why is it something that you as a professional should even consider? Well, for starters, let's take a look at some statistics. And I love numbers because the numbers, they tell you the truth. So for starters here, management platform Clear Company. They say 74% of employees lack professional development opportunities and that they're preventing them from reaching their full potential. According to Harvard Business Review, 95% of employees would remain in a company that invests in employees' career development. And then Pew Research Company, which many of you have probably heard of, 47% of their employees say that professional development in their program did, in fact, help them advance their career. So again, while the numbers don't lie, let's examine these statements in a little bit more detail and look at the benefits of professional development in more detail. But now, this is my little friend Stuart, and he is inviting you to walk through a doorway of opportunity. Behind this door lies new ideas, expertise, a newfound love for your career. So maybe if you're a little hesitant to sign up for a class or a conference, be brave. What's the least that could happen? You learn something. All right. There isn't any reason not to. All of these things are only going to help you. confidence and enthusiasm, all of this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to benefits of professional development. Again, it's an investment in yourself. Even if you're not paying for it, it's an investment in you. You're becoming, the world is becoming more critical. Global business, we're all becoming more competitive. We have to try harder at getting our jobs, keeping our jobs. So as requirements change throughout our careers, we have to stay on top of things, staying abreast of changes in technology and new information in any field. It's vital. So on the previous slide, it was noted that a boost in confidence is something that professional development can do for you. Of course, when we add additional skills or certifications to our resume, it's going to make us more credible. And this is going to help out your confidence factor. Invest in yourself. Employees who seek out these types of opportunities, they're going to get noticed. And this is a fact of life. If you're trying to improve yourself, people are going to take note of that. This shows ambition, and ambition leads to developing a better leadership skills. And this is another benefit of professional development. If you are invested in professional development, this displays a commitment to yourself and to your work. It shows interest in continuing to improve. Professional development boosts your earning potential by increasing your value as an employee. Employers, they want to see that. And if they see that, they are likely going to consider you more as an appealing candidate if you have increased your skill set via professional development. It's a win-win. Your supervisor also benefits. So you're benefiting, they're benefiting. Win-win. All right. Supervisors who encourage professional development, they are in turn encouraging higher productivity and job satisfaction. Stuart, he was there he is. He was drinking some tea and he was having some thoughts. Look at him. He looks so thoughtful. And while you were thinking, he was thinking. And you guys did a great job coming up with some ideas because he kind of came up with some similar ideas. So let's see if they match. One of the first things that he thought about was, I think somebody said this, was that it helps employers keep their people. If you like your job and the perks that come with it, you're more likely to stay. And that's a good thing for the supervisor. So retention, turnover. Also, another good thing, stronger teams. If each team member is taking it upon themselves to do their part, learn new skills, that's only strengthening the team. And that's a win for everybody. This will only increase productivity and morale, and the team will only get better. Let's see. Next on his list, Stuart thought, oh, there we go, that professional development would perhaps make it easier, and I do believe somebody did say this, training for future leaders. He is right. He is so right. And you guys are so right, because rather than hiring from the outside, promoting from within, this is a really great way to ensure for your employees that they're going to have a long career. It shows that they can count on staying with the organization for which they work, and they don't have to worry about, going somewhere else and finding another job at a later date. When a supervisor does have to hire from the outside, well, sometimes there's those knowledge gaps and people have to get caught up. So this is an excellent way to get new hires up to speed with policies and practices and reduce those knowledge gaps. Additionally, research notes that it attracts better talent. And I believe somebody said that, attracting better talent. So when professional development is offered, employees and employers, they gain better skills and retain better skills. And then the last point on Stuart's list here, which actually benefits the employer and the employees, is that professional development, as I mentioned earlier, it makes you kind of feel a little bit more enthusiastic about your job. Well, here it is again, all right? It makes you feel more enthusiastic. It kind of re-energizes you. When you go to a professional development, you're learning new things, you're looking at things differently, those new skills and all of that. It gives you kind of a fresh start. So if you've plateaued, if you've hit a wall, if you're feeling kind of stale, like, oh yeah, same old thing every day, you go to one of these classes, you go to a webinar, and suddenly things are new again. So this sometimes gives you the jolt that you need to get back into the game. And that's a good thing. All right, thanks, Stuart. All right, so that covers objective 2. So we have finished defining professional development. We've examined the benefits. Now we are going to move on to objective 3 and look at the different types of professional development that are available. Having just reviewed our objectives, though, I do want to tie this into our discussion, because knowing that there is purpose to what you are doing often makes it more meaningful. There's a framework that comes with professional development, and it serves 3 purposes: to develop knowledge, experience, and a skill set for current and future roles, to show your employer that you're professionally competent, and then to demonstrate to your employer that you have planned, updated, and sustained your knowledge, abilities, and experience in an organized way. So knowing that there is this framework, it's an important first step when you're thinking about choosing a class or a course to attend. In other words, this should be your goal for every professional development course. When you're looking at the course listing, make sure that you're taking a look to see if it's set up this way. Ask yourself if you're going to accomplish these 3 things by taking the class that you've chosen. So this is, again, it's just a good way to make sure that you're getting out of it what you want. Here's a stat for you. 75% of human resource professionals say there is a shortage of skills among candidates applying for a role. So professional development, it can help employees improve hard skills and soft skills. This is something that is vital to the workplace. Hard skills are learnable skills that enable individuals to perform job-specific tasks or jobs that may be required for their specific job. Hard skills can be measured and demonstrated. When we think about soft skills, on the other hand, this is what we teach here at Employee Development. This is adaptability. This is effective communication, team building. So having both of these as a foundation, again, only serves to make you a more valuable employee. Research notes that professional development is not linear or structured. We need to have a variety of things and approaches to continue our learning as a professional. And again, we already discussed just a moment ago the difference between hard and soft skills, but what else is there? So the first type of class that you are likely to encounter and probably have encountered previously is structured and active learning. So this type of class requires participation, requires you to be interactive, and these include methods like training sessions, workshops, conferences, seminars, lectures, even e-learning. Many of our live courses here at Employee Development are designed this way. Structured and active learning, they ask you, the learner, to get involved. So there's going to be activities, there's going to be small group discussions, and sometimes there's an assessment at the end or a test that will help you advance your career or maybe give you some kind of a certification. The next kind then is reflective or passive learning. And it is what it says it is. It's just kind of reflective. It's passive. There isn't any kind of interaction. It's up to you to learn on your own. So podcasts, case studies, business updates, reading relevant articles, all of these are examples of this type of learning. Additionally, if an employee has to, say maybe a meeting is part of their learning plan, then that would fall under this category here. Employee development also offers this type of learning. We have podcasts on various subjects, ed talks, and go at your own pace Blackboard learning. The next variety of professional development here is unstructured or self-directed learning. And here at Employee Development, we are encouraged to participate in this type of learning daily, because most of what we do here is research, note-taking. We are reading through sources and sifting through sources and taking notes, and all of those kinds of things are something that an instructor can't really do for you. It has to be done on your own. With that said, self-directed learning can take the form again of reading essays and papers, trade publications, and industry-specific news feeds. All of these options, they keep you abreast of the changes and the innovations in your field, and they offer professional growth. Any additional training or education outside the workplace, even, it might fall under this very broad term. And then the last one we have is on-the-job training and hands-on. And it is what it says it is. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is a type of training where you just have to jump in. You're working with the tools that you have and you're learning as you go. You might have a mentor or someone that's helping you along a little bit, and they might be assessing what you're doing, showing you how things work. But for the most part, it's you figuring it out. You just working with the process and doing your thing and figuring out as you go. Again, with the tools that you've been given until you find a comfort level. For example, when I began this job a year and a half ago, I knew how to make a PowerPoint to an extent, but every time I sit down now to do one, I'm teaching myself something new. I'm asking a colleague, how did you get that effect? How did you get that feature? I'm learning every single time, and it's just a matter of being in it and working with the program and learning. So hands-on training. So I'm sure that these are all types of classes that you've heard about, learned about, probably participated in, but it's just a good idea to go back through and look at like, oh, this is what's out there. This is what's available, and keep that framework in mind. All right, so give yourselves a hand, folks. We just finished objective 3, and now we have reached our final objective, which is, boom, to review best practices to make the most out of our professional development opportunities. What might those best practices look like? Well, the first and the best place to start when taking on a new endeavor, like a 2-day conference or a webinar series, is to establish goals and objectives. This serves as your compass. If you don't know what you're going to do or what you want to accomplish, then what direction do you go in, right? So before you even sign up for the conference, take some time to think about these steps. Maybe sit down with a piece of paper and just list some skills and knowledge that you want to learn most. Next, look for professional development that's actually relevant to those skills. So if you're really trying to figure out, hey, I want to work on ways to better my Excel learning, then there's really not a point in taking a PowerPoint webinar, right? That makes sense. Next, set both short and long-term goals. That makes sense to everybody, I'm sure. We have goals in the moment, short term, and then ones that we want to set for longer, later on. Then develop goals that motivate you. So you're in the class, you're taking the time to do this. So figure out what it is that's going to really motivate you to stay with it and keep with it. Taking the time to set these goals will give you a clear plan of action, and it's going to help you organize your learning more effectively. You'll also find that following these steps helps you establish self-discipline. I mean, if you, and you know, we all have those moments. If you're one of those people who you're like, oh, I just don't feel like doing it today, get out your list. Use that to help you motivate yourself. All right, it boosts your motivation because you're putting yourself in the mood and the mindset to receive new learning and information. When you do this, then you are seeing the value of continuing your professional development. We all know, again, that there is going to be those times and those reasons not to sign up for that class. And oftentimes those reasons are legit, and it can make it very difficult to stick to a learning schedule. So what do you do? What do you do when there's that obstacle, that thing that's in the way? Well, the best way to deal with this problem is to identify it from the get-go. Identify it from the get-go, and then brainstorm on what you think might get in the way. When you figure out what those things might be, then you come up with strategies to overcome. For example, you might be like, hey, I'm going to listen to this podcast every single day. Well, what happens? Every single day at lunch, I'm going to listen to this podcast, but then every day at lunch, you're making phone calls, you're chit-chatting with friends. So what do? You have to overcome this barrier. So it's like a matter of making deals with yourself. You have to commit to you and say, okay, maybe it's not going to be every day, but I'm going to do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And these are going to be my learning days, and I'm going to commit to myself on these days. So on those days, avoid checking your phone and running errands and whatnot, and make those be your learning days. Then reserve your free days for this is the day I'm going to run an errand, or this is the day I'm going to make a phone call, and congratulate yourself. And this might sound silly. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, people probably think it sounds silly for me to say to them that they should clap for themselves or actually for real physically pat themselves on the back. But you should. And you should, because it really does make a difference. I swear it makes a difference when you tell yourself, hey, I did a good job. You know, we all deserve to say to ourselves, I did a good job today, or I made that thing happen. So congratulate yourself when you do something well, when you meet that goal. I did a good job. Another great tip, no, on your learning journey, yes, give yourself a gold star, is to know what your learning style is. So this is important, and thanks to a man named Mr. Neil Fleming here. He is a teacher from New Zealand who developed what is called the VARC model or the VARC theory. We can easily identify what our learning style may be. VARC is just an acronym for the learning styles: visual, auditory, read, write, and kinesthetic. And all of us usually fall into more than one of these categories. And once you identify your learning style and what suits you best, you'll be able to learn more efficiently. Your comprehension will increase along with your motivation and what's also called metacognition, which is your ability to think about your own learning. This chart that's shown here, you can find these, like, it's all over the internet. If you just typed in VARC theory, you'll find this chart. And take some time to study it. Each category, again, shows each one there. Remember that different tasks call for different learning. And don't get bogged down or frustrated by it, but let this be something that's kind of fun if it's not something that you've ever explored. Share what you find with a friend or a coworker, because if you share this, they might go, hey, I want to do that too. And it's going to pique their interest, and they're going to want to sharpen their skills as well. All those times when the teacher said, you're going to do a group project, it kind of mattered. When you're learning with others, it can often make the experience more fun or engaging. Having a partner along the way, it can help motivate you. It provide advice and support. And just like being on any team, if you choose to think of it that way, you can check in on each other and you hold each other accountable for your learning, as well as helping each other stay focused on the main objectives. If you're in a situation where you don't have a team or maybe not an opportunity to collaborate, think outside of your workplace. There is always someone else somewhere who's interested in learning. Think about online classes, local colleges, libraries even. There are always people posting things like in coffee shops. There's always a place where people can post little interest things, bulletin boards and whatnot. So, think outside the box a little bit and look, if you're interested, other people are going to be interested, and they're always looking for ways to help work together for training and advice. Also, another thing here, funny enough, two heads are better than one. The American Psychological Association, they did a study in 2014 where they tested the theory of sound reasoning and decision-making versus strong personalities in a collaborative setting. In a nutshell, to put that in simpler terms rather, they found that groups who use sound argumentation and social motivation win. But for more details on that fact, check out that link. It's pretty interesting, actually. And our last best practice that I do want to mention to you when it comes to ensuring your professional development success is using self-assessments. Self-assessments are an excellent tool when it comes to examining yourself, especially if you want to look at how much progress you've made. A self-assessment allows you to monitor your own abilities, and you have control over your evaluation of your strengths and your weaknesses. Some of the other benefits that come along with self-assessments are greater insights and set future goals for improvement, improved personal accountability, better problem solving due to an inquiring mind, increased motivation to learn new skills, and improve self-worth. Thank you very much. We all at Employee Development, thank you so much for being part of our summer webinar series. It's something that we always look forward to every summer. If you are interested in anything else that we have, please visit our website, and we look forward to seeing you later. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.